Okay, so we're going to do some revision work for a while here, year 10. So I'm just going to be going through the first stuff from the very first unit from the start of the year, and we're starting off with everybody's favourite, adding and subtracting fractions. So I'm going to go through a few different examples, starting off with the easy peasy examples and then working our way up a little bit harder. So the really straightforward ones are ones which have the same denominator, which is just the number on the bottom line. So if you have two fractions like this with the same number on the bottom line, to add them together, all you have to do is add the top numbers together and the bottom line stays the same. So I always think of it as like, so this is fifths. So like 3/5 as being three separate things, and then you're adding on 4/5, so you're adding on four other things. So how many things do you have all together? Well, you've got 7. And what are those things? They are fifths. Okay, because a very common mistake is that people will add these two together to get 10 on the bottom line, which would be wrong. Okay, so 3/5 plus 4/5, we've got 7/5 all together. Now, I would not leave my answer exactly like this, because this is a top-heavy fraction or an improper fraction. So if you ever get an answer like that, whenever you are working with fractions, you need to change it into a mixed number. So a mixed number is just something that has a whole number and a fraction in it. Now to do that, all you do is think, right, well, how many fifths for this one? How many fifths do I have all together? I've got 7. Well, how many fifths are in one whole? 5. So we've got 1, because 5 of these 7 are the one whole, and then we've got 2 left over. So 1 and 2/5. So how many fifths are in 7/5? We've got, oh, that's a stupid question, we've got 7. So how many times does 5 go into 7? Once, the remainder 2, and the number on the bottom line is always the same. Okay, moving on to just easy ones. So 2/7 plus 1/3. So I've categorised this as easy because we don't have any mixed numbers to deal with here. So you'll notice now that the denominators aren't the same. So the rule for adding fractions is that you need to change them into the same form or the same denominator, and this applies to subtracting as well. I probably should have done a subtracting example. But 2/7 plus 1/3, the first thing we need to do is change this, or change both of these fractions so that we have the same denominator. So you're thinking, right, well, what's a number that both 7 and 3 will go into? So 21 is the smallest number that both of those will go into. So we know our new denominator is going to be 21. So we're thinking, right, 7 has been multiplied by 3 to get 21. So we do the same to the top line. So 2 multiplied by 3 gives me 6. 3 has been multiplied by 7 to give me 21. So I do the same to the top line. So 1 multiplied by 7 gives me 7. And now it's just like the one up above. So we've got 13 over 21. And always check, can you simplify it? We cannot with this one. Okay, we'll do a subtraction one next, maybe. Okay, so this time we're starting off with a mixed number, and I did opt for a subtraction. The rules for adding and subtracting are exactly the same. So with ones like this, if you start off with a mixed number, you need to change your mixed number into a top-heavy fraction first of all. So I'm probably actually going to go straight down here. I know I'll put my equal sign there. But 2 and 4/5. To change this into a mixed number, or sorry, change it out of a mixed number into a top-heavy fraction, think about how many fifths, because we're dealing with fifths here, are in 2. Well, in one whole there's 5, so in 2 there's going to be 10. So this 2 is 10 fifths. Plus we've got these 4 here, so that's 14 fifths altogether. Minus 1 1/4. There's 4 quarters in 1, plus we have 1 here, so that's 5. So that's minus 5 quarters. Then we need to get our common denominator. So we need to think, right, what's the number that both 5 and 4 will go into? And that is 20. So 5 has been multiplied by 4 to give us 20. So we need to do the same to the 14. So that is going to give me, that was supposed to be a 6 I wrote there. 56. 4 has been multiplied by 5 to give us 20, so we'll do the same here, and that gets us 25. So we've got 56 twentieths, we're taking 25 twentieths away, so our denominator is still going to be 20, and then we have 31. And I don't just leave my answer like that, I need to change it back into a mixed number. So 20 goes into 31, remainder 11, so that's 1 and 11 twentieths. Okay, now we're on to the hard ones. So slightly trickier one just because there's 3 fractions this time. Also we've got an adding and a subtracting, so we need to make sure that we're careful with that. So just like on this one, the first thing we need to do is to change our numbers into top-heavy fractions or improper fractions. So 1 and 2/3, there's 3/3 in 1, plus we've got these 2, so that is 5/3 altogether, plus 2 1/4. 2 is 8/4 altogether, plus this one, so we've got 9/4. Take away 1 and 5/6 is 11/6. So we're not quite ready to do it yet, we need to get our common denominator. So we need to think about a number that 3, 4 and 6 will all go into. So the lowest number for that is going to be 12. What can make these ones tricky is sometimes it's hard to see what the common denominator is going to be. A little hack that you can do is to start, well, I suppose you could just multiply them all together and that would give you one, but if you multiply the 2 bigger ones together and then do a quick check and see does the other one go into it. So for example with this one, that would give us 24, and 3 does go into 24, so that would also work, but I've just gone for 12. So 3 has been multiplied by 4 to give us 12, so we do the same to the 5, so 5 times 4 is 20. 4 has been multiplied by 3, do the same to the 9. 3 times 9 is, oh jeepers, I nearly said 36. 27. 6 has been multiplied by 2 to give us 12, so 11 multiplied by 2 gives us 22. So 20 plus 27 gives us 47, take away 22 gives us 25. I can't leave my answer like this, I need to change it back into a mixed number. So 12 goes into 25 twice, so I've got 2, remainder 1, so 2 and 1, 12. Okay. Last thing for this little video is just a quick summary of the rules for adding and subtracting fractions. So always need to get a common denominator, and that just means get the same number on the bottom line of your fraction. If you have any mixed numbers, so for example 2 1/4, something that's a whole number and a fraction, that's called a mixed number. If you have any of those, change them into improper fractions first, and then if there's any answers that need simplified at the end, make sure you do that. Unfortunately none of my examples here did, but an example of that would be if you ended up with 5/15 as your answer, then to simplify that, because 5 will go into both of these numbers, 5 goes into 5 once and 5 goes into 15 3 times, that would simplify down to 1/3. Okay, that is it for adding and subtracting fractions. Next up, multiplying and dividing. Woohoo!